Hi there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks,
And I'm Sweet Baby James, otherwise known as James Maynard.
and this is.
The Inner Revolution, changing the world from the inside out.
And if you think that you've gone to the wrong planet because it used to be grow, well, you're right. It used to be grow, but it isn't grow anymore. Now it's the Inner Revolution, changing the world from the inside out, which is really what growth is about. So there you go.
There you go.
And before I start on my topic, which is how to be happy in an unhappy world, let's have James introduce us a little bit.
Well, welcome to the Inner Revolution, changing the world from the inside out, where Granny once again shares her wisdom, her wit, her uncommon sense, her empathy and compassion for everyone. And we get to experience this every Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. So thanks for joining us. And now over to you, Granny.
So I don't know about you, but when I look at the news, I can get pretty stressed.
Yeah.
People are fighting, people are dying, people are attacking each other, all that kind of stuff. It does not look like a sweet, harmonious environment, does it? So that's just one example of living in an unhappy world. And then, you get to the office and people are grumbling. I'm grumbling about my husband. This one is grumbling about their kids. Another one is grumbling about the traffic. There's always something to be.
And they're gossiping about other people in the office.
Right, or they're not feeling well or whatever it is. So people, can be pretty unhappy. And then there's a lot of other, you call your sister and she's bitching about, something in her life and so on. So there's a lot of unhappiness in the world, and there really is, and then the people are suffering and so on. So, how are we supposed to be happy?
Good question.
So,
what have you to say about that?
Well, I have actually quite a lot to say about it. First of all, I want to say that it ain't easy to be happy in an unhappy world. And one of the reasons for that is that we are one. We are very impacted by one another. That is the result of our oneness, though it's not the only reason. I mean, as a result of our oneness, we feel one another's pain intuitively. We're just connected. And so I can feel what you're feeling and all of that. So, how do you get away from that? And then we may also get upset when we see bad things being done to animals or other people who don't have the strength to stop it. That people and institutions are causing needless suffering on the planet. So how are you supposed to stay happy there when you care? So that's so one of the reasons that we're unhappy is that we do care, and we are also connected. We feel. But sometimes people are, and by the way, Todd just said hi, Beth and James. Hello, Todd. So glad
Hi,
to
Todd.
see you. My topic, by the way, is how to be happy in an unhappy world. So another thing that happens, though, is people may dump bad news or grumbling or misery on us, and we're already in toxic overload. We are already unhappy ourselves. So Todd says, love the red. He's talking about the new robe. Actually, it's not the same red as it appears on the screen, but it is definitely red. Thank you. Isn't that cool? Inner revolutionary. The Inner Revolution red. I'm wearing it. There it is. So if we're already kind of unhappy, I think of it as like he says love the topic too. That's a good thing. So let's say you have a glass of water, and in the glass, well, you have a glass. It's not water, and half of the glass is already filled with toxic stuff, and so you add some more toxic stuff. It's going to spill over, right? So we can be really impacted because we're already in a negative space ourselves, and so if someone else is dumping negativity and bad feelings, it's like on us, it's like, yeah, right? Now, sometimes people are dumping unhappiness on us because they want us to justify their unhappiness. Like we have to say, oh, yes, oh, of course you're unhappy. Anybody would feel that way. And
And misery does love company.
it does. Or they when they dump unhappiness on us, they may want us to justify their position. Well, of course you're unhappy. Well, he's a SOB. You know what I mean? So like now the unhappiness is growing and growing and growing. I mean, where's the happiness? It ain't there. Okay. Sometimes people bring their unhappiness to us because they're truly looking for comfort and they want to be consoled. And, I can understand that too. So the question is, and I've given just, and Elizabeth said hello with a heart. Hello back, Elizabeth. Hearts back to everybody. So how do we handle all of this? How do we not become unhappy? Well, first, and this is kind of like obvious, but, I need to say it. We've got to be happy ourselves to begin with. It's like the glass, if we're already unhappy, how can we stay happy? Because we're not happy to stay. That's not a state that we could stay in because we aren't there, right? So there's a lot to talk about being happy, which I'm not even going to try to do today because then I'd never stop talking. But I would like to say how we can be happy in an unhappy world. And one really crucial factor, guys, is we have to be whole. And that's not easy. And I'm going to explain what I mean. And I may not be able to get to how we can stay whole and how we can be whole today. But if not, I'm going to talk about it on Wednesday. Okay. So what do I mean when I say to be happy in an unhappy world, we have to be whole to start with? See, if we feel each other's pain because of our oneness, then we will intuitively feel the pain of others. So how does wholeness help that? Well, because if we are whole, then there's something solid inside us that we can return to. And if we can feel somebody else's pain and we know they're in pain, that can be a blessing rather than a cause of unhappiness, because that can be bringing us to awareness. Oh, I just felt that. So-and-so, look, I think so-and-so is in pain. And, maybe I can help them. So I can use the awareness of other people's unhappiness to go towards them with love, maybe, or compassion, or go into the inquiry with them about, why are you unhappy? And is it necessary to be unhappy with whatever it is that's going on? If I can feel the pain, I can address perhaps the problems that are creating the unhappiness in other people, such as hunger. It's like, oh, if you're unhappy because you're hungry, I can share some food with you, or I can be part of a movement of trying to help people to have enough food. So I can use the information. So what do I do with that unhappy feeling? If I'm whole, it passes through me. It's just like, okay, I get it. I feel it. It becomes information. I acknowledge it. Oh, I feel unhappiness. I wonder whose it is. And then I can return to myself and do something from a place of well-being. I can return to my center while I'm taking action. You see what I'm saying? That requires us to be whole. Now let's take the next example that I offered. If I see, quote, bad things, that is, people causing needless suffering for others, including animals, I can do the same kind of thing that I mentioned before, which is I can notice the unhappiness. I can register it. I can experience it in the moment, but I don't have to become altered myself. I can let the feeling pass through me, and then I actually have the calm, the well-being, and the objectivity to maybe do something about that. Now, what about the example I gave before of other people dumping bad news on us and we're already on toxic overload, the half full with bad things. Jay wrote to us, love you too, grandmother. Hi there, and grandfather. Hi, Jay. It's been a while since we've seen you. So happy to see you. So now this one is obvious. This is about people dumping bad news on us if we're already on toxic overload. If we are already on toxic overload, the new load would not push me over the edge if I'm not already toxic on the inside. I would be whole. So your load of bad news isn't going to push me over the edge because I'm not already half full. You see what I'm saying? Now, what about those who dump their unhappiness on us because they want us to justify their unhappiness or justify their position in an argument or a dispute? Or even if they're just looking for comfort, well, the answer is the same. If I don't react to what they're telling me and I can stay whole, I can actually be more effective and impactful. And I want to talk more about that. That's what I'm really wanting to talk about tonight. See, again, if I'm whole, I can let emotions flow through me. It's like the stream that flows. It's like, okay, you piss in the stream and it just like flows, right? Whereas if you have like a cup and you just keep that same water in there, I wouldn't drink that, would you? So we can, when we're whole, we're actually fluid and things can flow through us like through a stream. Got it? So I am not altered by what I'm feeling in the moment. I can identify the information that I'm getting from that feeling. I've said this about anger, but it's also true about unhappiness, that I can feel anger, and that's really interesting, how I'm feeling anger, and it becomes information. Well, what is the anger telling me? So this is true with the unhappiness, but I've got to be whole in order for that to happen. And because, see, if we let ourselves be overwhelmed by the unhappiness of the world, we lose our objectivity and we become anxious, and then we can't think straight. It is not noble. It's not a virtue to become unhappy in the face of unhappiness. It is good to become aware of what's going on. Also, if we let ourselves be overwhelmed by the unhappiness of others, we are prone to take sides. It's like, oh, God, did he do that? Did she do that? Did they do that? Elizabeth said, I may have missed this by joining late. How does one become whole? I said I wasn't going to answer that question probably today, but I am going to answer that on Wednesday. So I'm creating an incentive here. I wanted to start because the universe told me to talk about this topic tonight. So I'm going to get to that wholeness issue. I think it's a great question, Elizabeth. Now, if we are impacted by the unhappiness, we will become desperate to fix it and to fix something. And from that place of desperation, we are now not only experiencing unhappiness, we're adding to it. Right? It's like, now I'm unhappy. And we're all like desperate, and it gets more desperate, and we're experiencing the unhappiness that we're trying to alleviate, and now we will need the other person or people to be okay to relieve our distress. So now it's like, get happy. Please, get happy. Todd said, I totally agree. I now try to be neutral when people are being negative. That is really good. And that's the same thing when you're looking at the world and all the unhappiness is in it, is to stay neutral and try to stay happy, right? Because that happiness kind of insulates us a bit. Now, when we are acting out of our need to fix people because we can't stand the unhappiness that we're feeling because of them, we are just adding to the problems. We are adding our own distress, our own lack of objectivity and calm. We're adding it to the collective experience of unhappiness. And we are likely to act impulsively, unfairly, or stridently, and we won't be helping. Now, when we are acting out of our own need to fix people, we are just adding to the problems. So when we see or feel the unhappiness of others, we need to take special care not to fall into these traps, right? Let's check in first. See what we're reacting to. Am I already unhappy? Was that glass half full of poison? And why? Take a look at that. Am I looking for a way to fix someone else's unhappiness because I don't know what to do about my own? Am I trying to look important to the unhappy people by fixing their problems and becoming indispensable to them? Or am I trying to look so caring, like whereby sharing their pain? Oh, I feel your pain. And why do I need to do that? Why do I need to look that way? That's just my ego trying to look like something. And definitely, why is their unhappiness making me unhappy? I need to self-reflect. Why are they unhappy to start with? Now, I have to say this. So much of our unhappiness is kind of silly, though we don't think so. And I don't mean that the pain isn't real to us. I'm not putting that down. I'm just saying a lot of it is kind of silly. For example, we can decide that things are bad when they are just different from our agendas. Like, oh my God, nobody told me that I had food on my tooth during that live stream. Oh, I'm so upset. Oh, I get it. I understand, but it's kind of silly, isn't it? I mean, of all the problems that we have in the world, that is the least. Okay. Now let's take some others that look really serious. The guy I'm dating turns out to be married and he won't leave his wife. Okay. I can ask a question like, well, why are you unhappy about that? Well, you could say, why am I assuming that he should leave his wife? See, that is just that he's behaving differently from my agenda. That isn't something to make me unhappy. It's to make me aware, oh, we have different agendas. Isn't that interesting? What kind of close relationship have we had up to this point that I didn't even know the guy was married? So am I losing a close relationship, really? Why do I think I need to be in a relationship so much that losing the one that I don't have causes me so much distress? Are you following all of these things that I'm asking?
Mm-hmm.
So this is an example of the world would say, yes, you should be unhappy. But the world is kind of crazy. It doesn't train us to be objective or to have understanding about things. It doesn't bring us into awareness. So, all of that would be grist for the mill of self-awareness. Now, here's another kind of silly thing that we get upset about. Todd said, yes, following. Thank you. I didn't win the competition for whatever it is that I wanted to win, for being the greatest rock star on the planet, for the hitting the home run, for getting the job, for
America's Got Talent.
America's Got Talent, whatever. Okay, I didn't win the competition. You could replace that unhappiness with some other questions like, why am I in a competition to begin with? Why are we creating such a competitive world? So this is self-made unhappiness. If we were not competing, there'd be no cause for unhappiness. And another thing we could look at is, why would my winning be a better outcome than your winning? So I'm going to be upset because you won. But why is my winning better? It's not better for the universe. It may be my agenda. I may have some attachment to that. But you see what I'm saying? We have to rethink everything, guys. In order for us to stop being unhappy, we have to rethink a lot of things that we're unhappy about and just really take a look at that. So, anyway, my God, the time is passing. I'm not going to get to how to be whole, but I would like to sort of sum this up a bit. So much of the thinking of our world is truly crazy. Women should wear skirts, men should wear pants. Now, when I was growing up, that's the way it was. Now women are allowed to wear pants, but men are still not allowed to wear skirts unless they're cross-dressers and that, or they become, you know what I'm saying? It's like, good. And then if once we've established that women are supposed to wear skirts and men are supposed to wear pants, then women are supposed to wear skirts that look like this. And when men are supposed to wear pants that look like that. And they're definitely not supposed to have polka dots and stripes at the same time because, oh my God, right? See, but this is crazy thinking. There's so much that makes us unhappy that is, because we have a crazy world that has ridiculous rules that have no connection to what we truly need. So when we are neutral and calm and happy inside, it's easier for us to see through the nonsense and help others do the same. So let's make the decision that the more unhappy the world, the more essential it is that we maintain our own wholeness and happiness. And yes, I am going to talk about wholeness on Wednesday night because we live stream Monday and Wednesday nights at 6:30 Pacific time. And I know that right now we are competing with shopping and parties and stuff like that. So if I'm going to get upset at how many people are or not here, then I'm going to get, that's silly.
That's silly.
It is just silly. I'm here doing what I'm supposed to be doing this moment, and I'm so grateful that you are here with me and sharing this experience.
More made up unhappiness.
More made up unhappiness. Now, on Thursdays, we broadcast Dreams of Peace. That's a live stream where I play the piano, improvisational piano music, and
I just want to interject something about that.
yes.
When I hear her play that music, I feel more whole.
Oh,
So if you want to follow up Wednesday's talk about how to be more whole, you'll come and listen to that music on Thursday, and I'll bet you'll feel more whole.
ooh, I love that. I love that, James. And I want to tell you about one other thing. These topics that we talk about on the Inner Revolution are very juicy. And we have started a group called Seeing Through New Glasses, because that's what we're trying to do. A group supporting the Inner Revolution. And we're getting a thumbs up and kisses from Todd. And this group meets every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, which is right after our Inner Revolution show. And the group is led by me. And we have great conversations where I help people to really look at these questions more from the inside out, more about them. And the groups, it's $25 a group. And I'm asking people, it's 13 weeks. I ask people to sign up for the whole 3 months so that, you've got your feet to the fire and you don't slip out and that we can all count on you. But they're great conversations. And if you look at the events on this page, facebook.com/Granny Rocks On, there is an event called Seeing Through New Glasses. And if you absolutely can pull together all 3 months at once, you contact me. And all the information is in the event. And we've been doing a program called Growth for months now, and it's just been great. And we have a new 13-week session coming up starting on January 1st, 2020. So I'm giving you the heads up. If you want to join this group, get in on the ground floor of the 2020 Seeing Through New Glasses. We're going to need it, guys, in 2020. We're going to have these, new contacts, new glasses, new telescopes, new everything in order to stay happy and well and whole. So I truly, truly, truly encourage you to take a look at that group. We do a lot of things. I do a lot of things that are free. There are lots of other activities. You can look at the post to see some of the other things, but take a look at this group, and I'm going to keep reminding you of it. So there. So it has been my pleasure as always.
Mine too.
And let's change
Yeah.
the world from the inside out. And let's start by being happy.
Yeah.
Love you all.
Love you. You take care of yourselves.
And